All right, we've got Owen Sebring and Mike Howell coming right now for a live post-game podcast here on YouTube on Eye on the Hawks. Owen Sebring, again, along with Mike Howell for the weekend, sharing a hotel room, and for the night, sharing a microphone as we go here on Eye on the Hawks to recap their first-round Big Ten tournament win over Wisconsin. 27-point win, their biggest win over a Big Ten team this season, I found out after the game, bigger even than their Washington road win.
Okay.
Mike, first off, just tell me about what stuck out to you from that game.
What stuck out is that first quarter. 6-9. Wisconsin's up by 3. Nice. It's kind of back and forth. Yes, nice. And then Iowa goes on a 19-0 run. Yeah. Wisconsin doesn't score again in the first period, in the first quarter. I don't know why I call it a period. It's not hockey. But anyway, just jumped out to that huge lead in the first quarter, and they didn't really look back. I mean, Sydney Falter only played like 18 minutes.
Yeah.
All of her points came in the first quarter. Mm-hmm. She didn't score again.
She had 7 rebounds tonight. 6 of those came in the first quarter and a half, and still led the team in rebounds after just that.
So that first quarter let their starters get some, minutes off in the second half. They, in the end of the third quarter, played all the 5 freshmen. They were able to get some solid minutes. Callie Levine got some solid minutes. Mm-hmm. So that's the big takeaway, right? Like, if you're going to win 5 games in 5 days, which Jan said is the mindset going in, and that's their goal. She says it's going to be tough, obviously. That's what you have to do. I mean, not go to the wire against a team you should beat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, this was the game that they needed tonight. I mean, just perfectly played out the way that I wanted them to. Make sure, again, as you watch us live here on YouTube, if you're watching on the live YouTube, to jump into the chat. Feel free to join in with any questions. I'll have Mike run over to the laptop and check the chat if you have anything you'd like to say, any comments you'd like to add, any questions you want to ask us as we're going live here. It'll be kind of a quick and dirty post-game podcast as we're going to do all throughout the week here on Eye on the Hawks from Indianapolis as we report live here for our station all weekend. But tonight, again, talking about this win over Wisconsin, the biggest thing that stuck out to me again was their ability to just execute things to perfection. They knew that, as we say, winning 5 games in 5 days, now winning 4 games in 4 days, they were going to need to save a lot of their legs. Mm-hmm. They were going to need to save the legs of Lucy Olsen and Sid Falter and Kylie Fierbach and Hannah Stolke, and they did that. At one point tonight, they had all 5 freshmen on the floor at the same time. Callie Levine, Tegan Mulaney, Taylor Stremlow, Aaliyah Guyton, Ava Heighton, all on the floor, sharing the court at the same time. You could tell the freshmen were loving that moment, and they just look good out there. They look comfortable. These are the minutes that are going to come down to being crucial, not just this season, but in the future as this team plays in the postseason next year. Getting those quality minutes for those freshmen is going to be big for their experience because they really did look comfortable out there. I mean, they weren't leading the team in scoring by any chance, but they had 2 freshmen who led the team in minutes tonight. I believe it was Aaliyah Guyton who led the team it was Taylor Stremlow who led them with 24 minutes played, and then Aaliyah Guyton and Lucy Olsen were second with 23 minutes played tonight. So the freshmen, just huge contributions across the board from them.
Yeah, definitely, and Jan talked about it because I think she was asked by one of the reporters how important it is. I mean, this is the next generation of Hawkeye basketball, and for them to get quality minutes, not in the last minute of the game. There's, the full fourth quarter. It really will pay dividends down the road. And ironically enough, Taylor Stremlow, she made a huge impact, but she didn't score a point. She's one of the few players to not do that. But it's a cool story for her because it's her birthday.
19th B-Day, yep.
Yeah, she's 19 today, and she was born in, or I don't know if she was born, but her hometown's Verona, Wisconsin, which is less than 10 miles away from the University of Wisconsin campus.
Right? Wow.
Yeah, looked it up after the game, and I was like, it looks close to Madison, so I don't know if she was a Badger fan growing up. Maybe we should have asked her, but pretty nice to get the win, and I believe the 31st win against Wisconsin in a row for this program, right?
Yeah, 31 straight wins now dating back to February of 2007, which is about 18 years, so there could be a player on the Iowa roster who in the entire lifetime has not seen Iowa lose to Wisconsin. I don't know if we'd have an 18-year-old on the team, but close to it at least by this point.
Well, Stremlow was 18 before today.
Yeah, that's true. But everything just working out according to plan, and now they turn their attention to Michigan State, a team that beat them back in December. And I don't know what you've got to say about this Michigan State team. They clinched a first-round bye. What do you know about them looking ahead to Michigan State tomorrow?
Well, Michigan State's a pretty good team. They took UCLA a few weeks ago to the wire. They have lost 3 of 5. 2 of those games were to USC and UCLA, and we all know USC's only conference loss was to Iowa. So they're a tough team. They also lost to Michigan about a month ago at home. But Iowa played them at a totally different time in this team's development. It was December 15th. They lost by 2. Iowa turned the ball over 24 times, and I think the box score was I can trust that. They said no team scored off turnovers.
Wow.
And Michigan State had 14 turnovers. they don't turn the ball over that much anymore. It's been an issue all season, but they've kind of clamped down on that. And Lucy Olsen at 13, I think Sid Folter at 13. It's a different game. That also was in East Lansing. So I do think what we're going to see tomorrow is going to be a little bit different. But still, like, Michigan State's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
And, they are the 6th seed, and they could have, if a few things, balls bounce the different ways, they could have gotten a double bye.
Yeah.
They're that good.
Yeah, they're a team that, one thing that worried me coming into this tournament was if Iowa was going to turn their attention a little too quickly to the quarterfinals, that they're going to look ahead too much to Ohio State, start planning for them. But I think we saw tonight that wasn't the case. I wasn't really worried about them playing Wisconsin, but after seeing them for the second time in 4 days, that is kind of a tricky ask for a team to beat a team well and to beat them even more convincingly than what we saw on Sunday. And so now that's kind of the key again against Michigan State, not to look ahead to the quarterfinals, not to try to win 4 games in 4 days all in one night, but to just save each night, make each game its own journey. Because really, even if they don't win a Big Ten championship, a win over Michigan State still does a lot for their NCAA tournament hopes. That might bump them up maybe one more crucial seed if they can make it to the Big Ten quarterfinals.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, what kind of wins will impact that. And, if you make it to the Friday, that's obviously better than making it to Thursday. But Michigan State will at least be a quad 2. I haven't looked it up. I should have before. But it'll at least be a quad 2 on a neutral, I think, because they're around that, 30 to 40 range. But, yeah, I don't think they're looking ahead to Ohio State. They have revenge on their minds for Michigan State. They beat them this year, right? And their only matchup. So they could go on a revenge tour and, make it to Saturday. That put them up pretty well for, next Sunday for the selection show. But 2 very tough games. If you can make it to Friday, I'm not so sure. I'm sure it's probably going to be a pick'em game, tomorrow night. And it should be a lot more exciting than it was tonight, I think.
Yeah, but this is what Iowa wanted in his first round game. They wanted to have a clean game where they didn't get any injuries. They avoided that. Sydney Falter looked like she might have gotten banged up at one point, but overall she stayed healthy. Everybody just looked and played their part out there. Overall, what are your impressions of this new look Big Ten tournament format? There's been some questions to Fran, to Jan, about how they feel about only 15 of the 18 teams making it, some teams getting left out in the cold. Do you like this format where you do have something to play for? You do at least need to win enough games to get into the postseason, or do you, like Fran and Jan, think every team should make the Big Ten tournament?
No, I don't think so. I like the way it is. I mean, 18. I mean, in a perfect world, there wouldn't be 18 Big Ten teams, right?
Yeah.
But if you're going to have this, I don't like seeing it go to Tuesday. You'd have a 14 seed with the impossible task of winning 6 games in 6 days.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. I mean, look at today. The heavy seeds won, and they blew out Washington beat Minnesota by 10 plus. Who was the other game? Nebraska blew out Rutgers. And then Iowa, blew out. Maybe you can cut down a few more teams. I know it's an accomplishment for Wisconsin, and their coach said that after that was one of their goals to make it to the Big Ten tournament. Indy's fun. But at the end of the day, if you win 2 conference games or 3 conference games, do you really deserve to go to postseason? I'm fine with it. If there's going to be this many teams, in a perfect world, there's 11, 10 Big Ten teams, and you play a round robin. But that's just not going to happen with the state of college sports these days. So I'm okay with it. I understand why Fran and Jan kind of, coaches looking at it like the mystique back then was everyone has a chance to make the tournament, and you get cut out before the tournament. Some teams like Iowa could, but now these 2 games this week for the men are super important. You win them both, you're making the tournament. If you lose both, you're missing it. So I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, same here. I see it a little bit like high school postseasons. In Iowa, at least, every state's a little bit different in it. But in Iowa, in every sport except football, every team makes the postseason. They make their district or regional or sub-state tournament and have a chance to play to get towards the state tournament. And so I think they like that aspect of being able to do that, but I don't know. Every team getting into the Big Ten tournament. I mean, in a perfect world for me, there should be less teams in the Big Ten, frankly. I mean, I think that you should chop about 4 teams out of there and at least return it to a place where they could have every team make the tournament. But as long as we've got 18 teams in there, then there's not a lot that you can do about that. So I know these are going to be kind of quick post-game wrap-ups. We've got, what time is it right now?
11:46.
11:46, all right.
15 minutes to get out of here.
Yeah, the building has been pretty strict about the times that they want us out of here, and midnight is kind of the cutoff. Midnight Eastern time, I know it's 11 o'clock back home in Iowa. Got the time conversion that we've got to factor with this weekend. Overall, give me your either the player of the game from tonight and a player to watch for on Thursday when they take on Michigan State.
Yeah, it's going to sound a little odd, but I thought Sydney Falter, I'll give that to her. I think, maybe she sat in that second half because she got a knock. I kind of forgot about that. Even though Lucy was the only Hawkeye player to score in double figures with 19, I'll go with Sid. She made some big plays. She hit a 3 in that first quarter to extend a lead. She just does all the small things right. It's cheesy to say that, but she does. Yeah. And she gets, for a player of her size to be getting the amount of rebounds she gets, she was asked about that in the post game, and she was like, you just got to go grab the ball, and she's like, throw your butt into a player, and that's what you got to do. And kind of chuckled after that. So I would go with her, and if not her, Lucy Olson, sure. Those two.
Yeah, a couple of wild stats from Sydney Falter tonight. Again, 4 for 4 from the field, 1 for 1 on three-pointers. She was the only Hawkeye player tonight to shoot a free throw. The Hawkeyes only attempted 1 free throw this entire game, and that was from Sydney Falter, and she missed it like a chump.
Over, huh, in the game?
0%. I don't know. I'd be curious to see the last time that Iowa played an entire game shooting only 1 free throw. That's got to be close to a record. I don't know. That's nearly impossible.
Yeah, that sounds kind of crazy, but I think it was just a free-flowing game, not a lot of fouls. I remember in the third quarter, Iowa didn't have a single foul. I would be remiss not to mention that Lucy Olson scored her 2,000th point in this game, and obviously her first 3 years were at Villanova, but she did it in black and gold, and she's a huge part of this team. So shout out to her.
Yeah, my player of the game. I don't know. Again, Lucy's an easy choice, scoring 19 points, but I might give it to Kylie Feuerbach. She had 9 points, crucial points that she got there, knocked down 3-pointer. She had she had. Let me find her on the box score. Kylie Feuerbach had 6 assists for the Hawkeyes tonight and 3 steals. This is kind of what we've come to expect out of Kylie Feuerbach this season, is like somebody who's not going to put up like 15 points a game, but will score at least a couple of buckets. We'll get some assists. We'll get some steals. 6 assists. That's got to be close to a season high for Kylie. I haven't seen her get those kind of assist numbers in a long time, but 3 to 4 steals is what we've come to expect out of her. I really like what she put out there. In terms of somebody to watch for on Thursday, I've got to check my days before I say it.
To answer that also.
Yeah. Mine, I would say, might be Hannah Stolke. Didn't factor in big tonight just because we didn't need her to factor in a whole lot. 8 points in 16 minutes. Had a few nice big stops against Sarah Williams, who still had a pretty good game. She scored 22 points for Wisconsin. But Hannah Stolke, I think, is going to be a huge factor in this tournament if Iowa wants to keep winning. She's had an up-and-down season. Some games she's factored in more than others. She was big in their win on Sunday against Wisconsin. And I think Thursday might be the night that she factors in big for Iowa against Michigan State.
I'll answer that question finally. I just forgot to earlier. Yeah. But you're going in the post. I'll go with the perimeter. I'll go with Taylor McCobb. I say that, I know it's McCabe, but the announcer kept calling her McCobb all game, and the PA in the arena. But she had 9 points today, and I think Iowa shot 55% from 3, 57% from the field. Okay. If they can shoot above 40% from 3, and she's a huge part of that, shooting from 3, they could win the next 2 games. Yeah. Now, they would need some other things to happen too, but the three-point shooting hasn't been there all season. It's been there in waves, and they really need to get hot if they want to make a run in this tournament or the big tournament. So
yeah, you're right. 55% exactly for the Hawkeyes tonight. Wisconsin shot 46% on three-pointers. Taylor McCabe was 3 of 5. Aaliyah Guyton 2 for 2 on three-pointers off the bench. Aaliyah Guyton, she also had 5 assists tonight, along with those 6 points. Man, just great night distributing the ball. Callie Levine, got to shout her out with 3 assists. I'm not sure if she has a career assist yet, but tonight gets her first few. So good for her. Want to see those first points come here in the Big Ten tournament. Those might come against Michigan State because the games are only getting tougher from here. So we're going to wrap this up for this evening because we've got to get out of the building and get back to our hotel and start putting things together for Thursday. There's going to be a lot to be seen throughout the weekend for Iowa's News Now, for Eye on the Hawks. Anything else we want to say before wrapping up, Mike?
If you hit up the Iowa's News Now YouTube page, which you're already there if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening on the podcast later tonight, though, head over there. You've got interviews from Taylor Stremlow that Owen got, and then from the press conference, Lucy and Sydney spoke, and then I cut Jan Jensen solely. So if you want some more post-game coverage, just them speaking, you can go to Iowa's News Now and watch those.
I cannot stress enough the importance of following Iowa's News Now and our YouTube page throughout the week, because this is where we get exclusive content. Yes, we have the podium press conferences with Jan and Lucy and Hannah and the best players, but we also get those auxiliary room interviews with the players like Taylor. And tomorrow we're promised 2 players in the auxiliary room if Iowa wins. Bailey Turner, Iowa's SID, telling us that we'd get 2 if Iowa does indeed win. So we're going to hope for another win, and we're going to see you later on Thursday night, win or lose, rain or shine, if after Iowa's game against Michigan State. And you can continue to follow us through the YouTube page, through X, and through Iowa's News Now, KGAN, Fox 28, whatever you want to refer to it as. And we're going to have it all throughout the weekend as long as Iowa keeps winning ball games. So right now, reporting live from Gamebridge Fieldhouse, and we're going to sign off. For Mike Howell, I'm Owen Sebring. We'll see you again on Thursday.
That went smooth.
Yeah, not bad. How long did that go?